for anybody who's joining us that doesn't know, this is Stoney, and Stoney is the founder and the head designer, art director, all the things of Stuzo Clothing, which I just love. And you can follow Stuzo Clothing at Stuzo Clothing. And then you also have another one I noticed, and I didn't see this until the other day, which is Stuzo Squad.
Yeah, our fan page, yeah.
Yep, which is I was like, huh, where did that come from? So is that an official page or is that somebody else's page?
Oh no, that's our official fan page. So,
Oh, okay, awesome.
we get a lot of people tagging and posting and stuff. So it's like, we like have to have a page for this, because I love to see like people's style and how they rock it, and it's like it inspires me because I'm just like, damn, I didn't even think like I didn't think of wearing it like that or putting these two together. So I'm like, I need to show people, all the styles that people, the pictures we send. And I just collect them from everywhere, like, our site or
Yeah.
whatever tags and stuff. And, so it's our fan page. And, keep tagging because, we love to see it.
Yeah, I'm always like, I don't know, it makes me so happy. I just light up when I see people wearing our clothes, and when I see people, I always say that our brand is it's about how we assimilate into your life, not the other way around, right? It's, you don't have to be a certain person or a certain way in order to wear a brand. It's like how you make it your own. So when I see people do that and like just doing their own interpretations of things, I love when people will cut stuff up and people are like, oh, do you ever get, I'm like, no, do it, cut
Right.
it, do it, make it yours.
Yeah, yeah. Someone said that recently about the laces. As a matter of fact, they said they want to get married in it, and I mean, I'm just like, one, that's already an honor for me, and
Yeah,
then
that's awesome.
two, yeah. So they want to do some tailoring, and I'm just like, go ahead. I want to see it. People have done some like I don't get offended. I don't get offended either because it's your style, and like it's still mine, and it's still like it's like ours together now. We've created something. You put your artistry and along with mine. And I think it's beautiful when people do that. Because I used to just like, get t-shirts, cut them up, maybe put holes in it and stuff like that. You make it your own. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, no, I love seeing that, and when people put their own spin on things. And yeah, I mean, I grew up I was a teenager in the 80s. So for us, it was like, we'd spend a whole afternoon, like sitting at home, cutting stuffing up, putting it back together with safety pins, like,
Yeah.
weaving stuff with other thread, like going crazy,
Yeah.
tie-dyeing things in the garage, all the stuff.
Yeah. Look, you speak of my language, okay? Because I can tell we're in the same age bracket. Because I've had my moments. I would even like dabble in like sewing. I mean, I sew now with the machine, but before I was my hand sewing and just all
Yeah.
kinds of things and doing things that I'm just like, okay, and it would be a project, it would be a whole project for
Yeah.
this one T-shirt or whatever you're doing. That now, things are much easier, but I think they were more fun. That I gotta say, I like that. Like, I feel like we're more craftier and just like we took time with it. Like things are a little speedier right
Yeah. There wasn't that. I mean, now it's everything is right. It's like everything is the instant gratification. And
now.
we used to go to thrift stores, and I mean, we'd spend like 5 hours in there. The lady was about to kick us out. Like, we would spend,
Yeah.
she'd be like, are you buying anything or get out? Like, we just stop
Right.
sitting there and grabbing armfuls of stuff and trying it on. And then you pull one
Oh my
thing
God.
up to the thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because how much are we really buying?
Yeah, but it mattered so much, right? We just would like, we'd plan the whole day and just take all this time, and
Oh
I'd buy
yeah.
something that didn't fit me just because the fabric was beautiful, and I was like, I'll make this into something else. I'm gonna get this
Yeah.
anyway because I just have to have it, even though it
Yeah.
doesn't even fit me. But
Oh yeah. You gonna make it
I'll
work.
rework it.
And you did, and you will, yeah. And it's like those are the best things. That's the thing. When it calls you, you got to go, and that's what I would tell people. Like, especially when we were popping up, they'd be like, I want this, and I'm drawn to this, but I don't know. And I'm just like, if that's the answer right there. That's when you're drawn to it and it's calling you. That's when you know. I mean, you actually you want those moments because now that's like this is a no-brainer. Like I gotta have it, and that's how I
Yeah.
choose my fabrics too. Like, sometimes most of the time I see the design that I wanted to create, but I don't know what fabric I want.
Hmm.
So I just let it speak to me, and I've done that down to the wire of whole collections, like maybe a week or two. Like people don't even know this. Like before a runway, before even like Fabric. I remember one time it was down to like 2 weeks. I had nothing but sketches and just designs that
Hmm.
I knew what I wanted to do, and I was like, I have no idea what fabric, but I'm gonna keep trusting my process and let the fabric speak to me. You go
Yeah.
out there and it calls you, and then that's it. It's go 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 time. But it's the best way because now I have to be happy with it. So that's why I was telling people like when if it's calling you, this you won't, because then you're gonna go home and you're like, damn, I should have got that.
I still to this day have certain things that I didn't get that I regret. And I'm like, you could have just not bought food and just buy that. And I've done that too. I've been like, I'll eat cereal for 2 weeks because I have to have this.
Listen, you still gonna
And the
survive.
only things I regret are stuff that I did not buy. And I'm just like,
Right.
oh, I should
You
never have
you
let that get
know,
away.
listen, who wants that? I still have things from like teenage like years where I'm just like, why did I either give it away or why didn't I get it? Like it's real. It's real. That's why I don't play around even about my stuff because sometimes like honestly I meet things that are super limited that I don't even own. So when I
Yeah.
see someone with it, I'm like, you better hold on to that. And I look and I'm like, damn, I don't even have one of those. Like you want to please don't ever. And if you ever want to give it away, give it back to me if you want. Honestly, I don't mind because I'll either re-gift it or I'll keep it. I don't mind. It's vintage Stuzo to me. But yeah.
I've gone across a room and gave somebody my business card and said, look, I know you're probably never going to part with that jacket, but if you ever decide that you're going to resell that jacket, I want you to use this card. I want you to call
Yes.
me before you put it on eBay or anything else. Like, please let me know because I want to
That's how
have
you know.
it.
Listen, I'm there with you. That's how you know it's real. The love is real. It's funny because a friend of mine was gifted a custom. It was like one, maybe two made. We made baseball jackets, and we like,
Mm.
there's custom with custom sleeves. I don't even have one, and I was just like, and they got it at Dinah, so I was like, yeah. So she said, look what I got because it does no longer fits my friend, and I was like, oh, you better not give that away. Like it better. She was like, you think I am? I came up, and I was like, yes, you did. Man, yeah, it just threw me back. I was like, man, should I bring this back? But a lot of stuff like sometimes I can't even get it anymore. So I was just like, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I
Hey,
feel
what's
like
up, Z?
there's so much love that goes into making clothes. There can be. I'm not saying that for all
Mhm.
clothes, but
Right.
I feel like, I think your brand and definitely our brand, it's like it's it's definitely a labor of love and there's so much care and artistry and just attention to detail that goes into everything. And I love that about, I can tell like there's so much personality in your brand. And when you see it like on runways or I see it on your site, it's nice because it has such a very clear voice and it has a very clear brand recognition to it, right? It's one of those things where even if I'm scrolling through something and I see somebody, I'm like, oh, I'll bet you money that's Stuzo right there. I know it has like a stamp to it. I lost my shit when I saw that Lena Waithe wore your stuff
Mhm.
on Jimmy Kimmel. I lost it. I was like,
Yeah.
get the fuck out. I was just like,
Listen,
what?
wow. I appreciate that. Yeah, me too. I
Yeah,
was just like,
I
is
was
this really
freaking
happening?
out.
Yeah, yeah. It was a moment. It's always going to be a moment in time for me. I think that's one of the most pivotal parts of of my journey where I'm just like, ah, man, that
Yeah.
happened. And it's like I have to really like I have them in my my phone, everything in there, and I relook at it sometimes, and I'm like, that happened. It's like, did it really happen? And I kind of want to relive it. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie. I would love to relive that moment
Yeah.
because yeah, I found
Oh,
out through my mom. Like my mom called me because I was working, printing orders and stuff,
yeah.
and I don't watch. I really don't watch like regular TV, and I think I had cable at the time. But I was working, getting these orders out and stuff, and I'm just like, what? She was like, you're not watching the TV? I'm like, no. What should I be watching for? And then she's like, Lita Lee has this shirt on. I was like, no, no way. Like it was like I had to have a whole viewing party for it. It was everything. It was a
Oh,
3-person
yeah.
party, but it was, but still, like it was.
I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty timeless. Yeah, I really appreciate her for all the support and like just always being down and really being a voice in our community. You know, and it's amazing to have someone like that that's like-minded and just understands the mission that we like setting
Yeah,
forth.
and I mean, I'm sure this is only the first of many, many times. Like it's not like that's the one thing. I already know. Like this is going to be for a long time to come, and it's also really eye-catching, and again, it has so much personality, right? So when you find these people who are always looking to stand out and they want to do, they also want to shop with their ethics, and that's a big thing now, right? Like it,
Mhm.
we've been doing this forever, right? But there's a lot of other
Right,
people, this is a new fun thing and this new crazy idea they have. Oh, wait a minute, maybe we should give a shit about how stuff is made, and like actually
right,
care about how we're spending our money. And it's like,
yeah,
these huge corporations, these legacy brands are like, so all of a sudden they're just like, wait a minute, like we have to care about
I
this. And it's
know.
like, yeah, you do. It's
Right,
like,
yeah. And then, you could always tell like they care for a second because you have to they want to be in the mix of it and like, and also show that they do care and they do have a soul and stuff. And I'm sure there are people that work for them that do have souls. So,
absolutely.
shout out to the people that's the real heart of their business.
Yep.
But this is how we started. So we get it. And these are our lives. So it's a different like you can see the passion and the like-mindedness of what we do, and I think that's why we're able to sustain and thrive even through all of the things that we're going through, these tough times and stuff, because passion will always and love will always prevail over like monetary gain, and if you're doing it to set trends or be a part of get on a bandwagon of caring about things that people like us naturally it just like we care about, and use
Yeah.
our fashion voices to put that out there.
Well, and it's interesting too. I think about this, and I'll I'm sure you do as well. Like as a founder, right? It's a lot of those companies started as small companies. They started as family-owned businesses. They did start. Everyone started somewhere, right? Like
Right,
nobody just
right.
showed up and was a massive
Yeah.
legacy brand that was making
Mhm.
$1 billion. Um, but it always resonates with me about how important it is to keep your company culture, like
Mhm.
from the start, always,
Right.
and sort of protect it with everything you have,
Yeah.
because that is what sort of I think can go by the wayside when it becomes more about, first and foremost, like numbers. And, I think about that with potential investors and stuff. It definitely is something where that core has to stay the same and the mission has to stay the same no matter what, where it's really not worth it.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point because like you said, people start from somewhere, but you do have to remember where you came from, and that's what it is, and keep the mission. And that's what it is for me. There's every minute, like I enjoy the journey, I enjoy every part of it. I look back, and I have to reflect because I have to also take time to remind myself to reflect on the journey and where I am right now, and how far I've come, and when I started just with a mere sketch,
Hmm.
just and just all these things, and that these are real life things that I've lived, and they come from real experiences. So I really think about that, and that keeps me grounded, moving forward. And
Yeah.
I don't create from like um what it is that I want to like, feeling like I need to make something new, or I need to do this, or worry about honestly like how much money is coming in or not, like that's not me. Like it's the creative part is always first, and the passion is first, and I believe everything comes with all of that. And just really like, because it goes so fast too. I'm like, we're
Yeah.
been around for almost over, I mean, really, like if you're talking about conception, this is almost 12 years, you
Yeah.
know. This and I'm just like, this is, I was just like in a small like like room. I wasn't even renting, but just like, at the bitter end of my BFA, just like, sketching, didn't know what I was gonna do with this stuff, but I'm just like, I know this is something I relate to, and it's gonna be something, and then I'm just working on my logo first, and then everything just going from there. And I think about all that stuff, and it's like sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday, but I know like this is over a decade ago, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, you really have to take those moments in and appreciate where you are, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. What was what was the first pieces or first collection or thing that you launched with when you started?
Well, it was. I started out with T-shirts at first, so
Mm.
really, I want to say that, well, the first logos that were on T-shirts were "Yep, Still Gay." That was that. The human tee with all the words crossed out and human underlined,
Yeah.
and then I had designs that are no one probably has seen it, and they're, if they own it, they have like one of a kinds, because they were like heat pressed, they were all like,
Yeah.
and these
Yeah.
they were actually made a Stewie, like a black Stewie from Family Guy,
Hmm.
with a
Yeah.
like a I'm Panamanian, so like a Panamanian shirt on, and it was like Viva. So I forget what it said. I had like sayings, and like, and I had like the shape of Panama. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
things like that. I pride stuff like, love is love, and certain things that I had that I would go out to sell at prides. And these were things like I didn't have a website, and I had none of that stuff. So
Yeah.
like I said, these were like heat pressed. And yeah, and those, they never made it to the sites. They sold out in the streets of New York,
Yeah.
and then so they have like some really one of a kinds. And I know I went to see my mom over the weekend, and she actually had one of my T-shirts that was like one of the first ones. It said "Vivir por amor," to live for love,
Mm.
and I love it because like it was like a puff ink that I did, and I only did like a couple, and she still has it, and I'm just like, wow, you did do that, huh? Like, and it still looks great, and that's the part that I love. So those were like the first ones. Yeah, and then it was just like a slew of like, I had to scale back because so many designs, and I was just pumping them out, and it's like, let's see if this works, let's see if that works, and then
Yeah.
I think as creators, we always want to do the most first, and then just scale back.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot, there's so much trial and error that people don't see. And people will be like, oh, this is, and you talk about what I'll talk about what I do and talk about what we make. And, Abby and I will be talking about, where we are now. And then, but people be like, yeah, but so what happens like during you're starting this to now you've done all this stuff. And I'm like, I can't even tell you how much trial and error, how many things you just test it out, you just see what works. You mess up, you fail, you like
Oh
get back up, you start
yeah,
over again.
yeah, yeah. It it's always, I feel, gonna be trial and error, because you
Yeah.
don't know. Like that's the thing with art. It's like you love it, but you don't know what's gonna happen. And you don't know how it's gonna work out, so you just go for it. And
Yeah.
I think people see the finished product, but they don't know what we have either gone through to either produce it, or created stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot. I still also like
So
print
much.
people's orders. I still print things and I still create. Like even something that all of the dyed things that I have, I
Mm,
hand do this. It's not like something I just pick up and print on.
yeah.
So this is like you're still getting, a piece of like, handmade work from me. It's like I'm not too big for it because I love doing it,
Yeah.
and I love that. So and there's just trial and error and all that too. I had to learn
Yeah.
learn with this. It's like, it's not like we know how to do everything, so we just, take it and learn it and just have to believe that you can and stuff.
Yeah. You have to just try stuff, and it takes bravery just to do that, right? Because there's a certain, like, being an artist.
Yeah.
You and I have this in common, and we both studied fine arts, and I started my life as a painter for many, many years,
Mm,
and but it's like there's a place of vulnerability being an artist, right? You're coming
yeah.
from this extreme vulnerability because this is something that's coming from inside you, and you're putting it out into the world for judgment and all this
Mm,
stuff,
absolutely.
you know. But if you can kind of have thick enough skin and sort of take the feedback and not take it like too personally all the time, and
Yeah.
look at it as, oh, there's you're not going to suit everybody, but you
Mm,
find your folks that it resonates with, and you get to build and make stuff for them that really makes them happy. But that's
yeah.
a process. It's this
Oh
crazy
yeah.
process.
Yeah, yeah. It's and I'm gonna like segue into some. I know one of our squad members is on here, Z. What's up, Z? And I know they said, do we go to fashion school?
Yeah.
So I didn't go to school for fashion. Like, you said, we have that in common. I was actually painting, drawing, doing mixed media. My major was graphic design, so I did everything in that field, and then some. Because I just loved it. Like, I did photography. I'm also a photographer, so there's so much that I did under that graphic design umbrella, and I'm inspired by art first, and art
Yeah.
is vast. So, but like, I mean, so like that inspires me to create within my fashion, and I like when those mix. So yeah, and it's like, and I had to also, take a step back and not be personal too with my stuff too, because these are our babies. They're creating these things, and
Yeah.
any artist can relate. You want people to love it, you, even though you love it first. It's great when people love it and they're like, oh, I
Yeah.
get it. But you just have to know that not everybody will, and not
Yeah.
everybody will love it or get it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's good. A lot of people will, and it's like you just put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just doing that, and then being able to be tenacious. You do it over and
Hmm.
over again, and just keep
Yeah.
at it, keep at it. And look what happens. Like, these amazing
Right.
things come from it. But it takes a lot. There's a lot behind it, but it's so worth it. Like those
Yeah.
moments, and when you see stuff come to life, right? Don't you feel that when you see the finished product, you're just like, oh, look, this is like,
Yes. Yes. Every time when I tell you, okay, so I'm dropping some new stuff on Monday, right? Um, and there's gonna be video behind this, so you're gonna see my reaction to this. And I looked at it because I got to draft the video today, and I was just like, so funny you say that because I was like, look at me, I'm like five all over again. Like I didn't, like I didn't know. I mean, I knew how it was gonna come out, but still seeing it and when it actually does, it's like, wow, it's made.
yeah,
It's like real. I can touch it. It's beautiful. So it never gets old for me. So like it's always good when you see it just materialize. You're like, wow, okay, this is good.
yeah. You said you still make stuff by hand, and you said you're not too big for that, and it's like, for me, I feel like I would love to get to a point where, so all of our prints come from paintings that I make, right? So it's all
Mm,
stuff that I
yeah,
hand paint as a painting first, and then transfer it digitally, and then we put it on the material. And you know, for me, I have this goal of eventually getting to the place where I can kind of do one of a kind things and put them on the site and do like very, very, like all of our prints are limited edition because I don't reissue them after we sell it through, but
Hmm.
that way people can sort of collect them
Yeah.
and have these very specific moments in time. um but I want to do like really intense, like over the top, one of a kind stuff and have it up there, and just like every
Right.
once in a while, and have it just be something where it's like, all right, this, I know that this has like the perfect home to go to. There is somebody,
Right.
like a
Yep.
matchmaking, it's like I know that this has,
Oh
you know, like
yeah.
with this one of a kind, and I really am looking forward to being able to do that at some point. I
Oh
want to
yeah.
get to that point.
Oh, you will. You will for sure. And I know what you mean. And I just gotta say, first of all, they're gorgeous, and it makes sense because I didn't know that. I did not know
Oh,
that about. Yeah. So now I'm just like, okay, how did I miss that? But gorgeous, like it speaks to my artist soul. And one thing in particular, because I was looking at this video of you describing your, is it a holster? Do you call it a holster, or is it a
yeah, the urban holster. Yep.
Okay, yeah, okay. Amazing. So I was like, all
Oh,
right.
thanks.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get into that. For sure. But yeah, what I love is that I love the designs. So that's why I'm like my heart is like smiling right now. I'm just like, oh, for me it just makes it that much sweeter that you do actually like do the painting, and then like I guess this is the moment that people have too with like me, where they're like, oh, then when you hear the backstory, and then you're like, wow,
Yeah.
makes it that much better. So I'm glad I can experience that.
Ah,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
I it's one of my favorite things is when not you know, not, I don't paint, not everything that I paint is with the intention of having it turn into one of our prints. I paint because I have to not turn into a crazy person, kind of like I have to
I feel you.
draw
Hmm.
and create and have those
Yep.
moments like for myself. But when
Yeah.
something starts to come together and I'm like, and the colorway and I think it'll work for a lot of different bodies, I all of a sudden I'm just like, oh, I can see this. This is going to be for play out, and
Yeah.
I get so excited, and then I'll kind of fine tune it and tweak it for that purpose and resize it so that it'll look good, you know, on repeated and on a print.
Right.
But that whole process for me, it all starts with me just painting in my studio or in my bedroom, and just having that little moment in my head of like sheer creative freedom, and then
Oh
it
yeah.
will evolve into something that
Yeah.
becomes something that I'm wearing.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I think that's the best, and that's super unique, and that's like that's the type of things that just like fills my soul with joy. Like, yes, we need more, and we need that to be spread. And it's like, and I love that we have that in common too, where and like I said, you'll get there because as far as the pieces you're creating, where it's just gonna be like super over the top, and it's gonna be like, okay, because you will always have somebody that's gonna resonate and be like, I need that, and it's for me, and it's gonna happen. And I just love that when you create this, it is like an art print, or like a series of canvases or something that is never to be remade. And I love that. Like that's dope.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you know, as a business owner, it's like Abby and I have a lot of days where we're just like, oh, we're just like more than burnt out, and there's always, you know, today I was in the snow going to drop off order to fill orders at the post office and all the stuff, because you know I'm still the fulfillment center in the apartment.
Same, same, same. So I feel you. Yeah, I had to go with 3.5 and 2 boxes, like garbage bags filled with orders.
Yes.
And I'm just like, people don't know. People don't know. We do a
Yeah,
lot.
there's this, you know, but it all makes it worth, like I just can't imagine, you know, at this point I can't imagine not doing it. It would just, I'd be heartbroken, right? It just like,
Right.
it's just the best feeling every time we get an order. I just get so excited. I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like every single, it
Oh
never gets
yeah.
old. I'm never
Come
not
on.
happy
Yes.
about like, oh, it's like, this is so
Come
cool.
on.
And I hope
Yes.
this person just loves it, you know?
Yes. Listen, I know exactly what you mean because for me it never gets old either. Like I appreciate every single one, and it's like I actually got like I love when they leave notes because I got a note in
Yeah.
like the note part and it was like made to me especially like it was like I just want to say thank you Stoney Michelli like for what you're doing and I was just like oh my gosh, like, I feel seen and I love that. Like, I love I could do that for other people and that they can see me too, and
Yep.
it's just always nice. I know that I'm doing a great job and I know that, I work hard and all that stuff and it's nice to when, people are just like, I see you and I see what you're doing, congrats. I'm like, eh, I ain't gonna lie, it was one of those moments where I was just like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna cry tears of joy. Thank you so much. Because that's why I want to do it. That's why I continue to do it. I want people to feel seen. I didn't see this when I was growing up. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
yeah, it was different things. They had brands that resonated with me that were black owned, with nothing queer owned.
Mhm.
Nothing uplifting, female identifying woman.
Yeah.
And even masculine, and just like all in the spectrum of queer. I didn't see that,
Yeah.
and it's just like we're needed. Like this is why, and like I'm glad that we are. I'm really glad that we are artists first because like it's a different take than just like okay, we're merchandising or I'm just like I'm. It's a different, you know, because we're creating. So it's not like we're not on the monetary part first. We're always going to create from within and understand, what it is that's needed and pass that on as we grow, to our companies. And I believe that that won't ever die. You know.
Yeah. No, I, I, I agree. And yeah, it's one of those things where I think sometimes about how different my life, the trajectory, honestly, of my life might have been if I had
Yeah.
seen brands like these when I was in my 20s, even, or especially as
Yeah.
a teenager. I honestly, I just never saw anything that was sort of outside of this very sort of standardized, very, very heteronormative, like very specific range. And I mean, I was a punker. I've grunge.
Right.
If there was I've had every hair color I can think, like all the things, right? All the piercings, the
Yeah.
stretched ears, all the stuff, right? But
Yeah.
if I had seen something that was like queer owned and operated and female owned and operated and really doing something that was very, very unique, like way back when, I would have gravitated toward it immediately. I think it would have changed a lot. Like, I think I would have gotten on this track a lot sooner
Right.
and it would have been a game changer. I think that
Yeah.
that visibility and just seeing, oh, wait a minute, that person gets what I might want. And it makes you feel included. And as soon as you have
Yeah.
that sense, all of a sudden the world becomes just so much bigger, right? You
Mhm.
automatically feel like there's so many more. It's like, oh, if that's there, then there must be other things that are for me
Right.
also.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like to believe that we were it wasn't out there because we had to create it and this is our journey and we had to do it for those coming after us and I'm glad that we can offer that for the youth and even people that's our age and older that are just like oh finally I feel seen and
Yeah.
and the world can open up whenever you become aware and see and open up your eyes and your heart to it. So I'm just glad that I can do that and be a vehicle for those that's like, especially really coming up though, because it's like you said, it's the butterfly effect. Because if we did, things would be different. Even though we appreciate where we are, it would be. It just would be, and you would get places a lot sooner. So if we could offer that and to the youth coming up, you know, maybe they can get there sooner, and then we can inspire them to create whatever it is that they want to create and come into themselves and just see who they are, you know, because some people
Yep.
spend a whole lifetime trying to just find themselves, and some of them never do, you know, come back to who we were born to be and just the greatness within us. And that's what I want to
Yeah.
inspire, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much room, you know, I get asked a lot about like competitors or you know, and I say it all the time, but it's so true. I don't think in terms of competitors. I think that, and maybe that's because I'm an artist. I feel like every single voice is different, right? Everything's going to be a different interpretation. There's plenty of room for all these different perspectives, even though we may all be making clothes, or we might all be making, you know, or it might be queer owned or whatever. People always be like, oh, what are, you know, what's your top queer competitor or whatever. I'm like, I don't. I'm like, where are we like big enough to go after each other yet? Because I don't think so. I
I
feel
just
like
don't.
we're still more
Yeah.
like, hey, everybody, come along, like help
Right.
make a place for each other, and you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's
Somehow I feel like we'll always probably have that mentality, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, because we have a community and it's such a beautiful thing. And it's like I would never ever see you as a competitor. I would never ever see anybody else as. That's just not me. I'm not competing with
no,
anybody. I'm not even competing with myself. I'm not. I'm thriving and I'm living, and I'm putting out art for everybody to enjoy, whoever that wants to enjoy it. And there's so much space. You know, if anything, you're a collaborator, you know, and
yeah,
we would, you know, that's
yeah,
what I'm looking forward to. I'm not like, there's no competition, you know, we do different things and everything, and with the same goal and just like, you know, the same drive and passion and love. And that's,
yeah,
you know, that's just it, you know, and it's like we can exist in the same space and stuff. And, you know, no one's ever going to do it the way you do it. No one's ever going to do it the way I do it. And that's the beauty of it, you know?
yeah. It's there's room for all these different voices and all these different perspectives, and I love talking with other designers. I love talking with other creators. It inspires me. I get like really amped, and then I go away from it. I feel enriched, and you know, I love when people are willing to chat with me too, and chat about their process, and I'm working on we're switching to a new template on our website, and we're going to have sort of like a subscribers only, like a forum, a blog. Um, so at some point, if you know, like when you have a drop or things like that, I would definitely love to include it on there. And any, you know, maybe we can get some blurbs from you about what was in your
Oh, yeah.
process when you have new stuff come out. But I want to really focus and amplify, you
Hmm.
know, as many people in our community and all the amazing things that they're doing. We work with so many cool people that are, you know, artists in their own right, or performers, writers, you know, are all doing these amazing projects. And I really want to make it a space where, you know, we're able to shout out to them too. So it's going back and we're, you know, it's not just about us. It's like sending people through us can find out about all these other amazing designers, artists, musicians, everything, because there's just so many amazing things going on, and people, there's so much love. And
Yeah.
I think the more, you know, the more we can just keep resonating that, just make it louder, make it bigger, push it out there further, like, like going, washing over everybody like a wave. Because
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's always, if it always kind of comes back to that, you kind of
Hmm.
can't go wrong, you know?
Absolutely not. Yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate that, and you know, I want to do the same, and I'm serious about this collaboration. So, you know,
Yeah.
whether
Oh, I
organically,
totally,
whenever that happens, but whatever I
I
know is gonna be like,
100%. I'm so
yeah,
game. So game.
yes,
Yeah, I feel like we we have a lot of things in common as far as our background and our process and stuff. And but it's
yeah,
also funny. I think we did the reverse. You're in LA, and I'm in New York. I'm from LA, and I moved here.
Wow, this
We
is gonna be
we
major.
switched.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be super major. Oh my gosh, like this is super divine, and I can't wait. I can't even wait to see what it cooks because I know your brain and just inner soul just probably works in
Oh,
miraculously amazing. Yeah, you know. So, woo. Okay, okay. This is good. This is good. Y'all better stay tuned because listen, well, you know what happened when New York and LA get together. It's
I know,
like
right?
the best problem. This is gonna be good. You know, we have a couple of things coming up from like, you know, the end now to the end of the month to next month that are, you know, that we're expanding the brand with, and I'm really into doing a lot of collaborations this year and just moving forward. And I've been having a great time getting a lot of uh, great inspiration from other artists, and not just in apparel. And that's the thing I'm excited about too, because I'm like, you know, expanding
Yeah.
it out of apparel. Um, and it's amazing. You know, I love like these talks, and I love building with other entrepreneurs and just artists first. You know,
Yeah.
and so that's why look when we it's gonna be a whole thing when we collab. So I already know it. Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure people can know to follow your brand at Stuzo Clothing, with it, which is Stuzo Clothing, and your personal Instagram is Stone Rocks, right? Stoneroxs. Oh, froze for a second, or I froze. One of us froze. I am so, so happy that Stoney was able to spend some time with me. This really was, it meant a lot, and it was such a pleasure. And yeah, hopefully there will be a collab coming soon.